What up, roomies? Tonight on Neighbors, we're stepping into the world behind the ropes. Not just the not just the wrestlers you see in the ring, but the minds helping shape them. Our guest, Yahnatan Levy. Yahnatan Levi, known in the wrestling world as Big Mrs. Levi McGuire, a manager working in the
Profit
independent
director.
wrestling scene. What?
The profit director.
The profit director? Ooh, my bad.
The profit director, big business, Levi McGuire. It's all good, brother.
But we're talking about wild stories from the road, how talent gets chosen, and what really happens behind the scenes of pro wrestling. Let's get into it. Everybody, welcome Yahnatan Levi. What's going on,
Hello,
my brother?
everybody. How you doing? What's going on?
Nothing much,
Thanks for
man.
having
Yo,
me.
thank you for being on, and yo, yet again, shout out to my dude Wade for connecting us. You feel me? We had
Yes,
a little roomies before we started recording and all this. You know, we were
much
talking
love the
about
way.
Wade and giving him his flowers. And yo,
Sir.
just go check out Wade, man. He's a great guy. You won't regret it. Like he's the man. But Jonathan, let us know, right? How does someone wake up one day and want to become a wrestling manager, or did you want to wrestle before this?
Well, um, actually, I grew up a wrestling fan back in the 80s.
Okay,
Um, watching the golden era of guys like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Andre the Giant, um, all
Jake the
those,
Snake.
Jake the Snake, Roddy Piper, all the greats. The managers from Bobby the Brain Heenan. Um, you had guys like uh, Jim Cornette. You had Mr. Fuji. I mean, you had a lot of big names back then. Basically, my thing was that I never saw myself as a wrestler, but um, more so of a personality, a talker. When I looked
Yeah,
at guys like Bobby Heenan, he was a heel or a bad guy, and he would, manage guys like Andre the Giant going up against Hulk Hogan, and um, you know, Andre the Giant would, um, beat up Hulk Hogan real bad, break his. Uh, no, actually, it was King Kong Bundy that broke his wrist. I was about to say Andre
okay.
the Giant, but yeah, and Bobby Heenan also managed King Kong Bundy as well. But just looking at, Hulk Hogan was the '80s, us '80s kids. John Cena back in the day, he was our hero. And it was like seeing him get beat up by Andre the Giant and um, King Kong Bundy, and it's like Bobby Heenan just talking crazy in the promos about how King Kong Bundy put Hogan out of commission and stuff. It's like, man, this guy, he's really getting under my skin and everything. And it's like, you know what? Uh, it's like this the whole irony, the characterization of that heel manager of it's kind of like
Yeah.
Lex Luthor in Superman, something like that. But yeah, basically, I've just always, I like to talk. I like to talk and um, kind of just add my persona to the role of the manager.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So like what's like your managing style and like your persona of it? Like do you like come out as like the bad guy or you try to be like the good guy? Like give us a little sample.
Well, I'm a heel. I'm a heel manager, a con man, a mix between, I would say, uh, Don King. Um, you know, uh, I would say like Don King, maybe a little bit of Wesley Snipes' character in New Jack City.
Okay, okay.
I come out there and I put my guy over. I mean, I I'm known to kind of get under people's skin by just being loud and boisterous, but that's that's how I am. I mean, I'm a heel. I'm a bad guy. But yeah, basically, it's a con man. So
Okay, okay. And like And like when did you like realize that that was like your lane in like wrestling?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
How did you know like that was like your lane in wrestling when you could have been like part of so many other things?
Well, I just kind of gravitated toward. I mean, I grew up watching Mike Tyson in his prime and watching Don King at his side and watching the press conferences and how Don King was just so to the point and loud and everything. And with myself, I I tend to be vocal, so I kind of
All right.
latch on to that. And then there was another wrestling manager that I uh, used to kind of gravitate to back in the day. That was Slick, and
Okay.
but yeah, he was a African American manager back in the '80s, and his I think his style was more so of like a pimp, but I'm not a pimp, So
Yeah.
my thing, you know, the way how Slick would talk, he was quick, quick witted, and to the point. So I kind of just added all the combinations of that and added to my own persona and developed my own gimmick or character.
I'm familiar on that. And so it's like so your character so like when you're out there, right? And you're out there and you're
Hmm.
being, braggadocious and you're, hyping up the crowd, like do you guys like kind of have a script of what you're gonna say or is it just all off the top of the head?
Well, I could say for myself, pretty much is all top of the head. Um, I mean, sometimes you do um, basically have to think about what you're going to say before you go out there. Um, some people plan ahead a week or two before the show. Sometimes I do that, but it's just it's repetitious. It usually comes natural, you know, and then you just have to like feed off the crowd and everything, and then bring your own energy to it.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. And like currently, right, as a Helios manager, what wrestler are you representing in the ring and all that?
Well, right now there's a young up and coming young man in the business by the name of Cutthroat Kyle Bain.
Hey, I
So
like that.
yeah, so I'm working with him right now. Um, I can say in the past year or two, I worked with veterans like guys such as Lennox, the Golden Lion, Lennox Leon. He's been around for a minute, and I helped him win a title about a couple of years ago. I started off with a guy named Jax Johnson.
Okay.
So I've worked with numerous people here and there, but mainly those two or three guys right there. Yep.
Or and what do you look for when you're like representing someone?
What do I look for? As
Yeah.
in
Like,
like
is
their
it skills? Is it persona? Is it like the chemistry between y'all two? Like how both of y'all drive the show?
yeah. I would have to say more so of the chemistry of how well we work together. I feed off them, they feed off me. Um, when we're doing promos together, we feed off each other. So basically, um, more so of character.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. And do you ever be like, all right, when you're like, have you ever had like a bad pairing, like somebody that you're like, this was cool for one or two gigs, but I don't really know.
Um, so, other words, like, have I had like somebody that I worked with that was decent? Then after a while, just kind of like,
Fell
I mean,
off.
like, I'm sorry, what was that?
Like, you worked with somebody for a little bit, but then it kind of like fell off because the chemistry wasn't right or whatnot.
Well, here and there. I mean, there are some guys that you just automatically connect with. You're not going to connect with everybody, and everybody's not going to connect with you. So, there have been a few people, not too many though, that I've kind of just like worked with, you know, for a short minute. But I mean, there's been some longevity with people that I've worked with in the past,
No,
but you do get some people that you just, you know, don't really click. You know, it's kind of like in a relationship, you know, you know,
it's
after a
good for a
while, you
minute.
know, yeah,
It's
it's
good
good
for a
for a
minute,
minute.
but then after
Then
a
you
while,
know
you
it's
start
like,
seeing the
okay,
real.
two minds are kind of not really thinking alike now, so it's time to kind of, you know, break it up, so to speak.
I feel you, man. But what's like some of like your wildest like experiences in the ring?
My wildest experiences in the ring. Let me see. Well, I don't know, man. Not too many. I could say maybe a couple years ago, um, when I was managing Lennox Leon, and I had to kind of like get in the ring with him and uh, help him do a little bit of damage. Not too much though.
Ooh.
But then the end result was, you know, God, this was back in I think 2023. Yeah. So I, from what I can recall, um, you know, it was basically him having it was a tag team match. So it was me and Lennox against a couple other guys, and you know, again, I'm not really much of a wrestler. I'm more so of a manager. So you know, I had to take off my suit coat, roll up my sleeves, and you know, help him do a few clotheslines here and there. Then all of a sudden, I look up, he gets knocked out,
Oh
out
no.
and he goes out the ring. I get knocked from behind, and I have an ankle lock put on me. I'm up there, you know, like, you know, yelling and screaming, like, "Oh God, no, 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 don't break my ankle!" So, you know, and so you know, I had on a nice suit and everything, but you know, that I could say that was a little bit of an experience right there. Nothing too
That's
dramatic.
nothing too dramatic, but
I had to get a
that's
little
dope.
dirty, man.
That's dope though. That's dope. You feel me? You
Yeah.
weren't was it something planned or was it unexpected?
Um. Well, it was planned at the last minute, I would say, and at the same time unexpected. You know, so it was like a week before the show. You know, if I would have known 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks beforehand, it would be different. But it was actually like a week before it, so you know, it's
No,
all
I
good.
get you.
It was a lot of fun.
You needed some extra prep time on that one.
Yeah, yeah. You know, like I said, you know, I had to get out the suit coat and roll up the sleeves, take the watch off, and kind of
And
get
put
my
in that
hands
work,
dirty.
baby.
Yep.
But all right, so like what? So when you're out there, right,
Hmm.
and you're putting on the show and you're gathering the crowd up, what does it feel like when you got the crowd hype and then like your guys about to like do a big move or like like really put in that work? How's that feeling?
It's great because when you get the crowd reaction, okay, I mean, as a heel, you go out there, you know, you you know, you hype up your guy. You know, basically, I'm a hype man, so I'm talking smack on the mic. You know, yeah, my man's going to do this and take the belt away from you, blah 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 blah. And he goes out, you know, everything that I said, he goes out there and he does it. And then, especially if he's, you know, beating up a face or a good guy who's real
Yeah,
likable. And then, you know, he gets that one good pop in, and then I'm just, you know, urging them on and everything. And it's like, you know, people are upset, and then it's like once I get the pop on me, you know, because I'm like the guy that's just out there antagonizing, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden, you know, I get knocked out or whatever. whatever, then the crowd really explodes because they're like, "Oh man, you finally got this guy right here," But the energy is great with it. I mean, it's phenomenal. The feeling is like, hey, I'm out there helping my man do his job, and we're coming out here to win, take no
I'll put
prisoners.
I'll put you on that. But just to like backtrack a little bit, right? You're using terms like I think it was fate. What did he call the good guy wrestler again?
He's known as a face,
A face,
a
right?
face.
A
Yep,
fake or a face?
face.
Face. Okay, okay. What? And you
Yeah.
said that you're a heel, correct?
I'm a heel, which is a bad guy,
A
a
bad guy.
villain.
So,
Yep.
are there like any other like cool terms like that for like other parts of like the wrestling thing? Or how about if like a guy's just like neutral and he's just doing his own thing? He's not like a good guy or a bad guy.
If he's not a good guy or a bad guy,
Yeah.
well, um, well, he has to be either one of the two. If he's,
Okay. Okay.
you know, he's either going to be um, a face whereby the crowd they love him because he's a good guy, or he's a heel because people hate him. He's a bad guy.
All right. All
Um,
right.
there are some cases whereby a guy can be somewhat neutral, I guess, but it's basically more either one of the two. Either you're a heel, a bad guy, or a face, a good guy. Yep.
Okay. All right. All right.
And
Um.
yep.
So like, what are like some of the biggest like misconceptions that people have about like indie wrestling?
Biggest misconceptions as in
Misconceptions. Yeah.
um well, I don't know. I could say, well, I mean, with indie wrestling, we're basically, we're not, of course, professional level yet, but
Yeah.
um, you know, um, I mean, basically, we're more so. Um, I mean, we are entertaining like the professional level, but I mean, people they still feed off of us. I mean, they still, um, they gravitate towards us. They look at us. Uh, I could say they look at us somewhat on a professional level because that's the next step from indies to the pros.
Yeah.
But pretty much, it's the same.
Okay. Okay. Because I've been to a couple of indie matches, right?
Hmm.
Like, because my boy Alex, and he also used to be one of my co-hosts here on the podcast. So shout out to Alex. He took me to like a couple of wrestling events, and it's like when I was there, it was so dope. I felt the energy, and it felt like I was there. I was like right there. It wasn't like a big pro match where you have like the distance between the ring and like the super guards up and whatnot. It felt
Yep.
like the wrestlers were right there with me, and they were like there
Right.
for me. It wasn't just like this big spectacle. It was like they're there for me to like be
Right.
entertained and them do
Right.
their crazy stunts and all that.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's a show.
Yeah,
It's a show slash act, somewhat somewhat of act, but I mean, we are. I gotta put it. We're athletes slash actors and actresses.
yeah,
So we're out there to put on a show for you guys, put our bodies on the line for you guys to entertain.
yeah,
So it's kind of like when you go to the movies. You just said the guardrail and everything, and it's like the wrestlers are there with you. It's like when you're at the watching a movie at the theater. It's like um, you're feeling the characters on screen, and it's
yeah.
it's up close. So yeah, it's like a live theater.
That ass it is. And how competitive does it get like behind the scenes? Like when you guys are like kind of like trying to direct the show, do any like wrestlers be like, "Hey, I want to do this," or "B, let's switch this up like last minute"?
Yeah, yeah. It is like that. Um, we talk everything out, um, and it's like you could definitely tell that this day and age kayfabe is dead because you were talking about what
Yeah.
goes on behind the scenes. Because back in the day, we would be talking about this in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but kayfabe's dead, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, we talk everything out backstage. You got guys that you know say, hey, I'm going to do this, let's do that. Then they switch it up at the last minute. So it's like rehearsal.
Yeah.
Whether it's at a play or a movie theater or whatever. We talk things out like, okay, this is how this is going to go down, and um, I'm going to do it this way, that way. You're going to do that, and we're going to go over. You're not going to go over. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it doesn't usually go along as planned. So you have to kind of improv on it
What would
sometimes.
you how what percentage would you say like is improv versus like not being staged but like directed?
Improv. Um, it's like, okay, when we talk about the match, behind the scenes, and when we go out there, sometimes things don't go as planned. So a guy could forget his spot, could mess up on something, and you have you know, to make it look good to the crowd, you have
Yeah.
to improvise on it, and just kind of sort of say cover it up a little bit. Okay. So
Okay.
as a
Okay.
manager, for myself as a manager, if I know that there's a spot that my guy needs to do to go over or whatever, and the person that he's working up against forgets something, I have to kind of like clean it up a little bit. You know, maybe for example, if he's supposed to pin the guy, and the guy is supposed to tap out or kick out,
Yeah.
and he forgets to kick out, and I know that he's supposed to kick out at a certain time, I have to kind of intervene, like, okay, maybe get the rest attention or something like that. So I mean, it happens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What's have you ever seen like all right? Let me set up the scenario for you. Right. You got your two wrestlers going up. They have their match, and then somebody messes up and things don't go according to plan. Do you ever see like tension like behind stage over things of that nature? Like people will like wild out over that.
Yeah, I've seen that sometimes. People, they get upset, and they just kind of like, um, they don't wild out too bad, but it happens though. I've
Yeah.
seen it here and there from time to time though, but nothing too catastrophic whereby there's a
Not like
big
not
argument
like
or fight
somebody just like
going on.
power bomb somebody in the middle of it. Like what? Bow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I probably seen something like whereby a guy wasn't supposed to do a spot, and then the a promoter or whatever be like, hey, I told you not to do that. Why'd you do that? Something like that, but nothing too catastrophic.
Nothing too crazy. So do you think in your personal opinion like is wrestling more business or art?
Um, I would say it's a combination of both.
Okay.
It's more so of an art. Okay, uh, it is a business aspect of it because you know we we expect to be compensated for what we do.
Of
We're
course.
all workers. We're all workers. We're not working for free. So that's the business aspect of it. It's, in my opinion, it's a combination of both. But yeah, it's definitely an art. You know,
Okay.
it's definitely an
Okay.
art. But the business, yeah, the business is
No,
definitely a big aspect of it.
no, I definitely get that. And like when you guys are like putting on the show, right, and you're kind of like trying to get the storylines together, the matches together, is it like does everybody well, at least on the indie level, right, does everybody throw their ideas into the pot, or is it like do you have a certain group of writers, or how does like that work, like with the storyline of like that event?
Well, on the so far as with the indie scene, everybody throws in their ideas out of their head. Nothing's written out on paper. Um, it's all in everybody's head. Hey, I got an idea of this. We're gonna do this this way, that way. Oh no, no, maybe we should do it like that. So basically, it's all in, ideas in our heads. Now, once you get to the
Okay.
professional level, that's a different aspect. When they um, write it out for you on a piece of paper and script it out for you, because that's the pros.
I feel you.
Now
I
you
feel you.
can. I'm sorry. What was that?
No, I said I feel you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So um, but I see it all the time, man. Guys would talk about something, and at the last minute, dude, they would just switch it up, and it confuses me. Like, man, we already had it planned out. Now at the last minute, you want to do this way, so you just got to act on it. That's how it is. So it comes with the
You got
territory.
you gotta roll with the punches. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
how much of like wrestling would you say is like psychology versus athleticism?
How much of it?
Yeah,
Um, I would say, oh, well, it's more so psychology. Um, the athleticism part comes natural. It comes naturally because we're all trained.
yeah,
So once you've been training for so long, and the moves here and there, that's all natural. The psychological aspect of it is, um, getting the crowd involved, um, making it, believable to people, having your character being put over and people feeding off of it, and knowing how the crowd is, and then you could throw out that energy to the crowd and display it. So that's more so of a psychological aspect of it.
yeah. All right, I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
Do have you ever seen when like a wrestler develops this character of this persona for the ring, and then they slowly like start becoming that persona?
That happens. I've known some people to do that. Um, I mean, I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that, but you know,
Nah, you don't
but
got to drop any names, but we've seen it happen.
yeah, I've seen it happen. I mean, it. Like for example, myself. When I go out there, people hate me. Okay, and when I first started in this business, I used to have little kids tell me, "Oh, I hate you, Big Business Levi McGuire. I want you to die." This and that, and I had to tell people, hey, I'm one of the coolest, nicest guys outside the ring, but you know, there's some people out there that you know carry that character in the ring and carry it outside of the ring. And you have to learn when to turn it on and off.
And turn it off. Yeah.
Yeah, Slick did an interview a long time ago, and he was talking about the Big Boss Man and how he worked with the Big Boss Man as his manager, and uh, behind the scenes they kind of butted heads a little bit, but they worked well in the ring. And he was saying that Big Boss Man was actually he was that real guy, the big in real life, Big Boss Man. Cobb County, um, yeah, his gimmick, Cobb County sheriff. So he was that guy outside of the ring. So I've seen it, but you know I could just speak for myself. Um, the way I carry myself in the ring is that character outside of it is totally different, and people usually
No,
get
I
it confused.
I could definitely tell because I don't know your character inside of the ring, but outside of the ring,
Hmm.
one cool dude. You know what I mean? I can't really picture you being like a villain. You know what I mean? From like the interactions we've had. But
Yeah,
do
well,
you find it easier being a villain or trying to be like a face?
I like being a villain, a heel.
Okay,
I like
okay,
that. I like, yeah, yeah.
all
I
right.
like being a villain. I like to I like to get under people's skin, and people just told me I just got that aura about me, so I I stick with that. Yeah,
I get it. Um,
yeah.
so here's a question that I've been thinking about for a little bit, right? What separates someone who gets remembered from someone who gets forgotten?
What separates somebody that gets
Who gets
forgotten
remembered
compared?
versus somebody who gets forgotten?
Well, for somebody that um, gets forgotten, I could say more so what separates them is that um, I don't know, maybe they just, they didn't sell well their character or gimmick
Okay,
to the people, to the crowd. They didn't have that spark, and they just didn't have that attachment. They were just kind of like, how can I put it? For example, one hit wonder
okay,
in the sense compared to somebody that is remembered. They had an impact on people. They had that impact. People fed off the character. They fed off um, uh, their energy. They made their mark. So
yeah,
there have been guys in wrestling, like mostly more so jobbers who have came out there and they're around for a little bit. Then after a while, they fell off compared to guys who are well known. So
I
you
got you.
know, yeah.
I got you. And like, how do all right? And this is more like, but for behind the scenes stuff. How does like a person create a persona that may or like they'll how do you figure that out? Like, what type of person you'll be inside of the ring that you know will be memorable?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. You were breaking up. What was that again, Ariel?
Oh, I said that. How do you know like how how do you know like if your persona is gonna make an impact and be memorable to like the audience?
Well, I could say more so if you work on your character,
Yeah.
if you work very hard on your character and come with something new at every show, it's something that's impactful. Um, that could be felt. That
Okay.
could be definitely felt. And you have to know your gimmick. Character gimmick. It's the same thing. You have to know that. You have to believe that that is um, that is who you are. Then you become it, and then you act on it. So, and you just have to believe in it. You know. So, um, when you believe in that, then that could be really felt. So you just know right then and there. Then it's just basically, depending on what type of character or gimmick you have, um, you whether you research other characters and add it to it and make it your own, then hey,
No, I
you
got
can
it.
go. Yep.
I feel it. I feel that. I feel that. If you could manage any wrestler from history, who would it be and why?
Hmm. If I could manage any wrestler from history, who would it be and why? I probably would have to say Bad News Brown.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Bad News Brown. He was a tough big man back in the golden era in the '80s, and he just he had that vibe and persona that when he's out there. And I remember watching this guy when I was younger. It's like, man, this brother didn't play. Because he'll come out there, had that look on his face, ball up his fist, and talking about, hey, anybody out there, and point to the camera. They think that they tough enough to go up against Bad News Brown, blah blah blah, and he'll just not only did he talk the talk, he walked it, and he went out there and he did his thing, and I could really feed off of somebody like that because I would really hype him up to the point that he's like he's unstoppable.
I feel
You
you.
know, yeah,
Is that rush of energy that
yep,
that bravado they would say, right?
yeah, right, right,
All
right.
right, now flipping the script, right? If you had to manage any celebrity to do wrestling that knew nothing about wrestling, who would you pick?
If I had a manager, a celebrity that knew
Yep,
nothing about wrestling,
yep.
who would I manage? Oh man, man, you got me thinking here, bro. Man, who? Okay, 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 okay. And it doesn't matter what
doesn't ma-
gender, race, whatever.
doesn't matter gender, race, whatever.
Oh man, a celebrity that doesn't know nothing about wrestling. Let me see here. Oh man. Well, you got me thinking, bro.
I got you, baby.
No, 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 no. It's cool. It's cool. Let me. You answer the question. So let me answer. It's coming. Let's see. Who would it be? um. I don't know. Maybe what's his name? Jail White, Steve that played Steve Urkel back in the day.
Jaleel White.
Jaleel White. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fire. Him versus Carlton.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Oh. Oh man. Him going
And
up against Carlton. Oh, I
you
would.
got
I would hype him up so bad.
and Carlton
So
got to be the heel.
yeah. I would hype him up to the point whereby he would just be on natural steroids and going up against Carlton. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That would be fire.
Yeah.
That
That
would
that
be
that.
so fire.
Yeah. Yeah. That would really be. That would be epic right there.
That would be fire right there. Jaleel White versus Carlton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
The
my
battle of
god.
the geeks, right?
Word. And then you could do like this whole gimmick with him being Urkel still in the ring. And then you could
Yeah.
like bring up the you remember the machine he had with that he went from Urkel to Stefan.
Yeah. I remember that. Yep. Yep.
You could
Yep.
pull that off like right when he's getting in there and like his wrestling persona comes out.
Yep.
Like it'll be like Steve.
Yep. He could come out the machine because he was skinny. He'll be a little bit more jacked up and everything, and he would just, I could work with him like that. Now if he's real skinny, no, but if he's a little bit pumped up, yeah, I could work with him.
No, we'll get him jacked. We'll get him jacked.
Oh
um,
man,
oh man, was if life were booked like wrestling, right? Who's the
yeah.
heel right now in real life?
If, who's the heel in real life right now?
Yeah, yeah, right now. If life was booked like in wrestling,
If life as we know it was booked like wrestling, who would be the heel?
right now, yeah,
Well, to be honest with you, my man,
yeah. Honesty is the best policy.
no, 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 it's cool. I mean, you asked me the question. I'm keep it real with you. The biggest heel right now in today's society, and I don't mean to get biblical on you, man, but it's the truth. It's the devil, you
The
know,
facts.
because the way how everything is, how the world is right now, man, with all the craziness going on, and he's the biggest heel. And
I,
I would have to say the face would be God Himself,
I feel
and
you.
God would definitely win. He'll definitely come home as a champ over the
Yeah,
belt.
give him, the Stone Cold Stunner and a little bit of the People's Elbow, baby.
Take that title back to heaven where it belongs, right?
Yup, but throughout all your experiences, right? And this is just getting to the more human part of everything. What has wrestling taught you about people and life
What does wrestling taught me about people
and life? Yeah,
and life? Well, with people, I could say it's taught me that just like in life in general, you're running to all forms and types of people in life, whether good or bad or whoever. Um, you know, Basically, you got people that you get along with, and fortunately, some people you don't get along with.
yeah.
I mean, that's natural, but and but life, basically, I could say that you know, just pretty much, uh, you know, getting to know people. I've done some traveling here and there, not as much though, but basically, more so respect.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we all, uh, some of us respect one another because of what we do, and we're in the same profession. Don't get me wrong, you do have some people that don't have respect for you or whatever, but
Yeah,
you just have to kind of just overlook the bad and look more towards the good. So that's how I can say about it.
I feel you.
Um,
I feel you.
yeah.
And have you ever had to like believe in someone before they found the belief in themselves?
Um, no, mostly the guys I work with, they believe in themselves. You know, um, you know, they're already confident, and I pretty much, when we work together, we enhance. I enhance them, and we feed off each other. But I mean, everybody pretty much is well confident within themselves. So I never had to really,
I feel
you
you.
know, uh, help
I got you.
anybody
I
out.
got you. And what would you tell somebody trying to like break into like the indie scene or trying to even go pro?
Well, if you're trying to break into the independent scene, work hard, um, stay focused, um, know your gimmick, know your craft, you know, and promote yourself. Most importantly, you have to promote yourself. And if
Yeah.
you're trying to go pro, just be like a horse with blinders on in the race. Stay focused on that. You do what you have to do to get to that next level. you know, Working hard in the ring as well as outside of the ring. So it's a lot of work put into it. But don't ever let people tell you what you can or can't do, because that in today's society, there's a lot of that. You know, uh, I could be wrong, but it's kind of like you know, we don't get too many people that uplift one another. We kind of like this, tell each other, oh, you can't do that, and you can do this, and you can't do that. But only know what you can do. You know,
I feel you.
so that's how I look at it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yep.
Okay. And what legacy do you want to leave behind in wrestling?
What legacy? Well,
Mhm.
man, I could just say pretty much, um, as a manager, I just like to, be known as a guy that helped develop future champions. Young and up and coming champions, help them get to the next level and pretty much, go forward. So
I
that's
feel you, bro.
how I
That's
look at it.
beautiful.
Yep.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
And before we wrap everything up, right? I always ask everybody this: what are your final thoughts, and do you have any, advice for the roomies before we go?
Well, my final thoughts are, pretty much, um, always keep God first, and just uh, work hard towards any goals that you have that God put within you, and know that you can achieve anything as long as you put your mind to it. If you put your mind to it, then hey, you can go anywhere and beyond. So that's the mentality that I have, and I live by it. Yep.
I feel you on that. So,
Yep.
roomies, remember, when life got you down, make sure to climb to the top rope and drop an elbow on them because you got this. Believe in
Throw them
yourself.
balls like ludicrous.
Facts. Believe in
Fact.
yourself,
Major facts.
and always be good to people because people will be good to you. And with
Yes,
that being
sir.
said, peace out.
All right, brother. Thanks for having me.
Yo, Jonathan, yo.